Some dates should be sacred. Some betrayals demand perfect timing for justice. 3 years. That's how long I thought I knew Kelly Martinez. 3 years of what I believed was honest love, shared dreams, and building something real together. I'm Ryan Mitchell, a 40-year-old high school literature teacher in the small town of Millfield, Connecticut. I thought I had found my person, my forever. I was wrong about everything. It was March 15th, our 3-year anniversary. I had planned the perfect surprise, taking off work early to set up a romantic dinner in our shared apartment before she got home from her marketing job. Red roses, her favorite wine, candles everywhere. I was even going to give her a promise ring I'd been saving for months to buy. But life has a cruel sense of timing. I used my key to slip into the apartment quietly, arms full of groceries and flowers, already imagining her surprise smile. The living room was dim, unusually quiet for a Friday afternoon. That's when I heard it. Voices from our bedroom. Not just any voices. Kelly's voice, breathless and intimate, mixed with a deeper male voice I didn't recognize. My heart stopped. The grocery bag slipped from my hands, wine bottle shattering on the hardwood floor. I should have burst in. I should have confronted them immediately. Instead, something cold and calculating took over. I crept closer to the bedroom door, left slightly ajar, and peered through the crack. Bedroom door, left slightly ajar, and peered through the crack. What I saw didn't just break my heart. It shattered my entire understanding of reality. Kelly was there with someone I recognized from photos she'd shown me. Marcus Rivera, her ex-fiancé from 5 years ago. The same Marcus she'd told me she hated, the man who had destroyed her ability to trust and left her with emotional scars that took years to heal. The same Marcus she claimed to despise so much that she'd blocked him on every social platform. Clearly, that was all a lie. They were intimate, comfortable, familiar. This wasn't a sudden moment of weakness or a recent rekindling. The way they moved together, spoke to each other, touched each other. This had been going on for a long time. I backed away silently, my mind racing. How long had this been happening? How many nights had she lied about working late? How many times had she kissed me goodbye in the morning before going to meet him? But here's the thing about being a literature teacher. You understand narrative structure. You understand that the most satisfying stories have perfect timing, poetic justice, and consequences that fit the crime. I wasn't going to give Kelly the satisfaction of a dramatic confrontation that day. I wasn't going to let her see me broken, crying, begging for explanations that would only be more lies. Instead, I quietly cleaned up the broken wine bottle, gathered the roses, and left as silently as I had arrived. The roses, and left as silently as I had arrived. When Kelly came home that evening, I pretended everything was normal. I claimed I'd had to stay late for parent conferences and couldn't make our anniversary dinner plans. She seemed relieved, which should have been another red flag. But by then, I was operating on pure calculation. "Rain check?" she asked, kissing my cheek with lips that had been on another man hours earlier. "Of course," I smiled. "We have all the time in the world." Over the next few weeks, I became a detective in my own relationship. I started noticing patterns I'd ignored before. Her phone always face down during dinner. Sudden girls' nights that her friends never mentioned. Working late on projects that never seemed to materialize into anything concrete. I hired a private investigator, Discreet, professional, expensive. Within 2 weeks, I had photographic evidence of Kelly and Marcus meeting at hotels, restaurants, and even at his apartment across town. The timestamps showed this had been going on for over a year. A year of lies. A year of sleeping next to someone who was living a double life. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I spent months preparing. I documented everything. I took screenshots of her location data when she claimed to be elsewhere. I saved every lie she told me about working late. I even discovered that Marcus was married with 2 kids, information that would be particularly devastating to his wife, who worked as a nurse at the local hospital where half the town knew her. You see, Millfield is the kind of small town where everyone knows everyone. Reputation matters. Scandal spreads like wildfire, especially when it involves betrayal and broken families. I waited exactly 365 days. March 15th, 1 year after I discovered the truth. That morning, Kelly tried to make anniversary plans again. Should we finally have that romantic dinner we missed last year? She asked over coffee, stroking my arm affectionately. Absolutely, I said. In fact, I've already made reservations. Somewhere very public, very special. I had indeed made reservations at Romano's, the upscale Italian restaurant downtown, where Kelly's boss, several coworkers, and half of our social circle regularly dined on Friday nights. I made sure to book the table right in the center of the main dining room for 7 p.m. prime time. At 6:45 p.m., I excused myself to use the restroom. Instead, I walked to the restaurant's small private event space where I had arranged to meet with 12 people. Kelly's boss, 3 of her closest coworkers, her sister, her parents, 2 of our mutual friends, Marcus's wife Maria, and Maria's sister, who I'd contacted through social media. I had prepared a folder for each person. Social media. I had prepared a folder for each person. Inside were printed photos, text message screenshots, location data, and a timeline showing the entire affair. Professional, documented, undeniable. I apologize for the deception in getting you all here, I began. But Kelly Martinez and Marcus Rivera have been having an affair for over a year. Kelly is my girlfriend of 3 years. Marcus is married to Maria. Tonight is supposed to be Kelly and my anniversary dinner, which felt like the appropriate time to reveal the truth. The room erupted. Maria's sister had to hold her back from storming out immediately. Kelly's parents looked stunned, then disgusted. Her boss, Mr. Henderson, was particularly upset. Their marketing firm had a moral clause in employment contracts, and public scandals reflected poorly on the company's family-friendly image. I gave them 10 minutes to process the information, then asked them to simply observe what happened next. At 7:15 p.m., I returned to our table where Kelly was checking her phone, probably texting Marcus. "Sorry for the delay," I said, sitting down with a smile. "No problem," she replied. "Should we order wine?" "Actually, I have something to share first." I pulled out my phone and showed her the first photo, her and Marcus kissing in a hotel parking lot. Her face went white. "Ryan, I can explain." "No need," I said calmly. "Everyone you care about already knows." That's when she noticed them. You care about already knows. That's when she noticed them. Her boss standing near the bar, her parents at a corner table, Maria and her sister by the hostess stand. All of them staring at her with expressions ranging from disappointment to pure fury. Kelly's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. How did you? I've known for exactly 1 year, I said. I thought our anniversary was the perfect day to celebrate the truth. What happened next was both beautiful and terrible to watch. Kelly tried to approach her parents first. They turned their backs on her. She attempted to explain to her boss. He simply said, "Clear out your desk on Monday. Security will escort you out." But the most devastating moment was when Maria confronted her. Marcus's wife was a small woman, but her voice carried across the entire restaurant. "You knew he was married," Maria said, her voice shaking with rage. "You knew about my children. You destroyed my family for what? For a man who's cheated on every woman he's ever been with." Kelly's attempts at explanations fell apart under scrutiny. "It just happened," became "we fell back in love," which became "you don't understand the situation." Each lie contradicted the last. The most pathetic part was watching her try to blame me. "Ryan's been distant," she claimed to anyone who would listen. Our relationship was already over, but I had prepared for this too. I pulled out printed copies of her text messages to her sister from just that morning, gushing about how excited she was for our anniversary dinner and how much she loved our life together. The restaurant manager eventually asked us all to leave, but the damage was done. By the time we reached the parking lot, Kelly was completely alone. Her parents drove off without speaking to her. Her boss and co-workers left in obvious disgust. Even her sister, who had initially tried to defend her, walked away after seeing the full extent of the evidence. Marcus, of course, was nowhere to be found. I later learned that Maria had called him during the confrontation, and his response was to immediately deny everything and claim Kelly had been stalking him. Even in betrayal, he betrayed her. Kelly stood in that parking lot, looking around desperately for anyone who might offer support or understanding. But she had burned every bridge, destroyed every relationship that mattered. "Ryan, please," she said, approaching me one last time. "We can work through this. People make mistakes." I looked at her, this woman I had loved, trusted, and built a life with, and felt nothing but pity. "Kelly," I said quietly, "a mistake is forgetting to pick up milk on the way home. What you did was make a choice. Every single day, for over a year, you chose to lie to me every morning when you said you loved me. You chose to betray me every time you went to meet him. You chose to destroy what we had, and you chose to keep destroying it until this moment." I handed her a final envelope. "These are the lease documents. The apartment is in my name. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Your belongings will be packed and ready for pickup tomorrow." The aftermath was swift and brutal. Kelly lost her job due to the moral clause violation. In a town like Millfield, word traveled fast, and her reputation was completely destroyed. She tried to find work at other local companies, but the story had spread everywhere. Marcus, true to form, had immediately distanced himself from the scandal. When Kelly tried to contact him for support, she discovered he had blocked her number and told his wife he was seeking a restraining order against his unstable stalker. She ended up moving 3 states away to somewhere she could start over without the weight of everyone knowing her story. As for me, I took a sabbatical from teaching and spent the summer traveling. When I returned to Millfield in the fall, I found that my actions had earned me considerable respect in the community. People appreciated that I had handled the situation with dignity, that I had given the betrayed wife the evidence she needed, and that I had exposed the truth rather than letting the lies continue. I eventually started dating again, a wonderful woman named Sarah, who teaches at the elementary school. Wonderful woman named Sarah, who teaches at the elementary school. She knows the whole story, and she says what impressed her most was not the revenge itself, but the fact that I had the patience and strength to seek justice rather than just lashing out in anger. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting their own choices destroy them. Kelly destroyed her own life. I just made sure she couldn't take mine down with her. Some people say I was cruel, that I should have just confronted her privately and ended the relationship quietly. But I think about Maria, who had a right to know about her husband's betrayal. I think about Kelly's employers and friends, who had a right to know who they were really dealing with. And I think about myself, a man who deserved better than to be played for a fool while everyone else got to live in ignorance. The truth has a way of setting everyone free, even when that freedom comes with consequences. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Some dishes are worth waiting exactly 365 days to serve.